Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Upper Tier Podcast, the football podcast we bring you each and every week. It's Monday. It's the Monday mashup. It's the beginning of an international break. So we thought we'd take the opportunity to bring on very special guest, Dave Elder, coming on from Emerald Events and also from Tyrrellstown. And we're going to be talking about both of those on this evening's show as well. So Dave's going to join us for the first part of the show to tell us all about this good stuff and all. As always, joining me, my co-host as always, part-time ref, part-time goalkeeper, part-time a little bit of everything, really.
Part-time little kicker now, bringing Holly up to little kickers every Saturday morning now.
There you go. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Oh,
there
stop.
You go. Before we get into the show, just to mention our sponsors for the Monday mashup, Marky, run through it there.
Yeah. Taking bookings for next year now. A few of the Legends games and all coming up, which we'll be announcing over the next few weeks and months and stuff like that. So really looking forward to that, and a few things coming up over Christmas. And of course, I'll let Dave explain the event that's happening this weekend then as well,
Yes, folks, make sure you're following Marky over there on Facebook and Instagram. And if you do have a requirement or a special event, hit him up there. Marky will look after you. Tell him you're a subscriber to the Upper Tier and stuff like that, and you'll get even looked after even more. So yeah, the first part of the show, Dave, welcome to the show. Thanks for taking the time to come on and stuff like that. Really appreciate it. No Talk problem. To me. Where'd you want to begin?
Well, I'll tell you where I'll begin. Mark's trophies. They are brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. We had them for the Tyrrellstown end of season event, and they were brilliant. Like, really? It's some of the best replicas I've ever seen. So, and as a Spurs fan, we don't get to see too many trophies, but no, they were first class. Absolutely.
Like a United fan over the last few years as well, Dave,
Well, look, feel me pain, lads. I've been 48 years at this. So, no, listen, I run an Emerald. Well, it's mostly Tottenham. It's an Emerald Events, and I bring ex-footballers over to Ireland, do meet and greets, but it's not like your theatre style where you can't even get near the person. All my events, you get to meet the player, you get a photograph, you get something signed. Very, very personal. And I've been doing it now about probably 12 years. And the pinnacle now is this Saturday up in Derry, where my hero, Glenn Hoddle, I finally got him after maybe 17 or 18 events. He's the one that I've always wanted. So he's the one that's coming this weekend. So I'm absolutely delighted. So look, Glenn Hoddle was, a lot can be said about his personal views and his private life and all the rest, but as a footballer, he was just unbelievable. People talk about Hoddle, about passing the ball. Hoddle didn't pass the ball to anybody. Hoddle teleported the ball to your feet. He was unbelievable. I think he was well ahead of his time, I suppose. And, even I think one of his biggest downfalls as a manager as well was the fact that he could do it in training and the players couldn't do it. So he got frustrated, which, I've heard that from quite a few professionals, that he was probably too good to be just a manager. But, to me, he was my hero. He was my idol. So to get him now after all this time, it's been a big smile on my face for the past kind of 6 weeks. But like, all this came about, I don't know if you remember, lads. Remember Danny Kelly used to do a My Sport and Life podcast, and it used to be free.
Yeah.
And no matter where I was going, I downloaded every single episode, no matter what sport, and just got enthralled by listening to these sportsmen and about the stories and behind the scenes. So I was lucky enough, about 15 years ago, I was invited by a fella called Rob White. Rob White was the son of John White, who played for Spurs in the 60s and was struck down by lightning on the golf course. And there was a memorial match for John, and it was against Spurs Legends team. So I packed my boots and my shin guards and got a flight over to London, and we played the match. And like you're Mark and players like Sheringham and Anderton and, all these superstars. And then you get to talk to them after the game in the pub, and it's just like sitting with a couple of mates having a drink. So I decided, well, does anybody fancy coming to Dublin, or anybody fancy coming to Ireland for a show? So it started off from there, and it's just grew and grew and grew. And some of the people we've had over has just been, phenomenal. The last kind of 3 people over was Ledley King, Michael Dawson, and Sandro, which, that's the era now that anything after that probably won't do an event because they don't need to. The money's there for them. They don't, you're talking about the lads from the 60s and the 70s and the 80s that, they could be doing with a few quid in their pocket. Football's changed, but you're not going to have, somebody like Tongi and Dombele coming over and doing a Legends Night in Dublin, so and you wouldn't have them over anyway. But
not for another 20 years or so. Anyway.
No, well, I'd say if I put up about 25 Big Macs and a couple of chicken fillets, they might come over. But no, like it's just you don't get that nowadays, and I think I always go back to the stories about from the old White Hart Lane, and there used to be a pub across the road, and you could have been sitting in there having a drink, and the next thing you've got half of the 1991 FA Cup final squad have come in and they're sitting having a drink with you, or you go back a bit further and like Jimmy Greaves and lads like that used to travel to the matches with the fans, and it's stuff like that you don't see that nowadays.
It's lost, and it's lost really. It's lost.
100%.
It's lost, and I always look at the kids nowadays, and they go up to a player now. I don't know if you've ever experienced it, but if you try and get an autograph or a photograph with a Premier League player, they won't make eye contact. It's a scribble on a bit of paper, gone. That's it, done. It's Steve Perryman, who was Spurs captain, played 800 odd times for Spurs. If he does an autograph or a photograph, each signature is personalized to you. That comes with a conversation, comes with a photograph. It's a completely different era, and for me,
it doesn't take much to either, Dave, doesn't it? Not like it doesn't take much for him to do it. Like,
no, it doesn't, and I think for me to be able to bring that over to Ireland, and the likes of the Airfield lads doing the game there, a couple of months ago. There's people around Ireland don't get that opportunity. They meet these people and meet these players, and it turns out that they're all normal lads that like a bit of crack, like a pint. It's just bringing that hero, if you like, to your doorstep, and you can have a conversation and a chat with them. And some of them have been absolutely brilliant, really, really brilliant.
What was Sandro like, Davey?
Sandro was Sandro was exactly what you think Sandro was going to be. I had him 2 nights, and both nights the first thing he done was split the G on stage with a pint of Guinness. So he likes a pint of Guinness. Got the guitar out, was singing. Just brilliant lad. Some good stories as well.
Because didn't he sign for like a lower league English team for 3 games or something? Didn't the chairman's a Spurs fan or something like that?
Well, Sandro was he was doing his coaching with De Zerbi from Brighton. So when De Zerbi was at Brighton, Sandro was there for about 6 to 8 months, and then he got his qualifications and he went back to Portugal. And he was trying to get a job in Portugal, but then he went to that non-league club for 4 or 5 games, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But still fit, still fit as a fiddle. Could still do a job. I'm thinking if Tyrrellstown got a senior men's team, I might give him a call. He could do a job in the middle of the park.
Happy days.
But yeah, some of the I'm sure you know yourself as well, Mark. When you're chatting to these lads, you know, you'll hear them talking about stuff, and you'll just be in awe. You know, you're thinking, my God, like
100%.
I have to tell you one, right? I had Ozzy our day less over, and we were in the car. I picked them up from the airport, and we were in the car, and we had about a 2-hour journey. So when I'm in the car, his phone goes. So he starts speaking Argentinian, and a bit of a signal issue. So he puts it in loudspeaker. So it's now we're going back probably 5 years ago, and it's Mauricio Pochettino who's on the phone to him in the car. So that was grand. They were having their conversation, and then he basically told Pochettino, "Hold on, I have another call coming in." So the next call comes in, starts talking Argentinian. So I nudged. I says, "Ozzy, who's that?" And he goes, "It's Diego Maradona."
No
So
way.
I'm sitting in the car with Ozzy. He's talking to Maradona and Pochettino, and I'm sitting there going, Maradona was one of my heroes, and Pochettino was the current Spurs manager. And it was roughly around the time where Maradona had came to Tottenham Stadium, and Ozzy had shown him around, and he was meeting Harry Kane and Hugo Lloris and all. But like sitting in the car with that going on right beside me, it was crazy. Like where's that
moment, isn't it?
When are you ever going to get that?
Jesus,
that's Maradona, Dave, right off my shoulder there. That's an original Mars Napoli jersey signed by him.
I'd love to bring it down, but I can't. I have a 78 Argentina. No, I have a 78 Argentina shirt up there signed by Ozzy, and then I have the 86 Argentina shirt signed by Maradona as well.
Yeah, awesome.
So that's they're two. The Maradona ones, like big massive signature.
Funny enough, Dave, I have a Holson jersey here somewhere signed by Gascoigne that I bought. I won it in an auction during COVID. Signed by Gascoigne. Yeah, I think it's from the cup game or something like that. Yeah, it's
FA Cup final, was it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
You see, I'd be very, when it comes to kind of stuff like that, people would get people would get a set of boots signed by a player, but to me, I have now they're not his boots, but you remember the Gareth Bale hat-trick against Inter Milan?
Yeah.
So I have the exact same boots, but he signed them. Now they're not the boots that he wore, but they're the same boots. Like you do. And look, to be fair, on these nights, like I'd never, ask an ex-professional for tickets or stuff like that. I just don't do that because I try and keep it as professional as it can be. But when it comes to getting things signed, shirts, boots, pictures, they sign anything. The lads will sign anything. And in Glenn, in fairness, now Glenn's coming on Saturday. I've been to a couple of events with Glenn, and nothing's a tall order for him. He'll sign everything. He could be sitting there for an hour and a half just signing, and no problem. No problem.
Yeah, no, they're great that way. They're great. Like Mark will even tell you, Jermaine Beckford, remember Mark? He missed the bus back to the hotel because he was so busy signing stuff for lads and everything and all.
After the match.
It's insane. Yeah, absolutely.
He's very good with the fans, in fairness, yeah.
Dave, you know how you get around those boots? You should have told Gareth Bale just to throw them on there and then for a few minutes and then whip them off.
Yeah, well, they were brand new out of the bag, and I thought they'll look nice in the frame. So I said to my young lad when we get home, go and run about the front garden there, get a bit of grass on them, and we'll say it's White Hart Lane.
Absolutely, yeah. No, that's very, very cool. So talk to us. I mean, let people know what's how do they go to the event? How do they get tickets? All that kind of stuff.
So tickets, I have a Facebook page. It's called Emerald Spurs Events. There's tickets available there at the moment. There's not many, but I've managed to get a bit of extra space in the hotel. Brilliant. The doors will open probably around 6:30. So Glenn will come onto the stage around 7:30. He talks for about an hour, and then there's a break. And in that break, there's a raffle and an auction. And all the prizes within that are authenticated, signed memorabilia from ex-professional footballers. Then Glenn comes back on for probably another hour and a half, 2 hours. So he's on stage for quite a while. He packs up, and he's actually we're all staying up in the hotel. So anybody that's fortunate enough to stay in the hotel, you're going to be able to come down and have a drink with Glenn. So there is tickets left. Everything can come through the Facebook page, or I can put my own Facebook page up there if anybody wants to give it a shout. But all the details are on the tickets. Be good night, good laugh, and loads of stuff to get, loads of prizes to be won, and a chance to meet a football icon.
And the link to the Facebook page is in the description of the video as well here as well. So
yeah, it is. Yeah,
if they need that, it's down there in the description as well. Tell us this, and I should have asked you this probably at the start. What's the connection with you and Spurs? How did you become a Spurs fan?
I think it all started in 1981. I think Spurs got to the FA Cup final, and I was only a kid, but there's a main street in Derry called Shipkey Street, and at the bottom of Shipkey Street used to be a record shop, and my mum had taken me into Derry. She was on getting the shopping, and we went into this record shop, and playing in the background was Ozzy's Dream. You know, Ozzy's going to Wembley. So I demanded I got the 7-inch single, and from that day, like whatever it was in 81, then I've just been Spurs through and through. Was a season ticket holder for a long time. Was even over there for a couple of months myself as a young lad. Thought I was going to be famous, thought I was going to be a footballer, but no, it didn't work. I came back home. So, but no, I've always been a Spurs fan, and it's been a tough old slog, but Spurs all the way.
I love those stories about how it comes about and how it evolves and unfolds. You know that. Imagine that day you didn't go into Derry shopping with your mum.
I know.
You know what I mean? And like it's. And what about the rest of the household? What kind of house did you grow up in? It was the household Man United or Liverpool?
No, there was no. The only other one that even followed football was my granddad, and he was an Aston Villa supporter.
Okay.
So there was no, and it was mad because I thought I was the only Spurs fan in Derry. You know, I was only a kid. I always had the top and all, and used to go to the school, and the teacher say, "What are you wearing? Like, who's that?" You know, so and then it turns out then that the bread man, he was a Spurs fan, and the milkman was a Spurs fan, and do you know what I mean? It just evolved then, and I remember Spurs coming to play in Derry. I think it was 88 or 89, and Gascoigne was there, Lineker and stuff, and they beat Derry 5-0. But I remember going, and you went into a certain part of the Brandywell, and it was like, Jesus, I know him. Jesus, there's another Spurs fan. Oh, I know him. But like even now, like the amount of Spurs fans in Ireland is huge. It's massive.
Massive. There's a mate of mine, Richard. He's based down in Kerry, and he's a massive Spurs fan, and he's been over there as well. And he has two of the original. I can't quote them now, but he has two of the original track jackets that were worn.
It's not Richard O'Connell, is it?
It is. Richard O'Connell's a good friend of mine.
Jesus, I know Richard,
Yeah. Me and Richard have a connection through the program, because I have the wrestling shop here in Dublin, you know.
Very good.
We have a connection that way, yeah. But Richard was telling me how they brought him over. They wanted to buy the two jackets for the museum, but he said the offer wasn't right.
Well, I tell you, I offered him money for the Hummel jacket, because he has a Hummel one, and it's deadly, absolutely deadly. Spurs are very clever because they've started making replicas of them.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think these are original ones, aren't they? That he has, I think.
Yeah. I know Richard. Richard's been to a few events over the years.
Yeah, he follows them around. He goes to a lot of the games as well and stuff like that as well, especially the away games. He goes to as well. Yeah,
it's easier to go to the away games.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I often look back at those times in school and stuff like that in the 80s and all and late 70s and all, and like the mix of teams and all there. You wouldn't get it now because everyone nowadays is either Arsenal, Man United, or Liverpool or whatever it is. But back in the classes then, I used to say to Marky, like there was lads in the class who followed Ipswich and Luton Town and Grimsby and all this kind of stuff and all. It was mad, like it was crazy back then. Yeah, Blackpool.
It was nearly generational as well, wasn't it? When I remember going to school and it was like, all your uncles and they were all Leeds supporters because they were in that era, and then the next group then was the Liverpool fans, and so it kind of evolved. It's just I don't know how the Arsenal fans came about, but sure, look, we'll pass on that.
Well, one of them just came into the chat there. I think Ryan's Corner. He's an Arsenal fan.
There we go.
Sorry, Ryan. Sorry about it.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. My dad actually was a big Leeds fan because he played with Joylsey for Ormond Celtic, so he had no choice but to be a Leeds fan,
Some amount of them, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
My wife's two brothers and all their sons are all Leeds now as well.
Oh,
yeah. Huge Leeds support here in Ireland as well. Massive as well.
Yeah.
Look at the
Aviva. Yeah. Look at the Aviva. Unreal.
I was working that day and I made a mistake of wearing my United jacket in, and the abuse I was getting off the Leeds fans going around that. It was a bit of banter, but the abuse I was getting off them all.
Dave, boy Mark, he meant to do it. It was all contrived and all, he's a glutton for punishment. Like
never.
Touch on while you're on. Touch on Tyrrellstown as well. Talk to us about Tyrrellstown.
Yeah, Tyrrellstown. So I moved down here about 15 years ago, and look, I didn't really know anybody other than the wife's family. I knew nobody, and I knew that back in 2004, Tyrrellstown had a football team, and it had stopped it for whatever reason. It just wasn't going. So the FAI decided, would it be time for this area to have, to see the football team come back? But obviously, football teams don't exist if you don't have volunteers and people to step up. So a fella called Gary Barco, he was the original chairman back in the day, and he put a couple of flyers out to say training sessions down in Tyrrellstown, €2 for a training session. Bring your kids. So I bring the kids down, and I'm standing watching, and the next night I go down and I'm still standing watching, and I get a tap on the shoulder, and it's one of the FAI lads, and he goes, "I know you." I says, "No." I says, "Don't know me." He goes, "Yeah, I think I played against you, years ago." I says, "No." I says, "No, you wouldn't have played against me." And he goes, "Would you fancy taking a session?" And I says, "Yeah, go on. Look, I'll do it because I'm here." So there was myself, there was Gar Cooney. I don't know if you know Gar. Gar was a very, very good footballer, was in Bowes books for a long time. I think he went to Wexford, or he was a very good footballer. So there was myself and Gar and a couple of other lads, but there was 70 kids, 3 footballs, 4 bibs, and it was just, that's how it started. So we officially got the club back running then in 2021. And in the last 4 years, we've exceeded now 350 members. We have about 22 teams. We've got girls teams now competing in the DDSL. We've had maybe 12, 13 players who've represented NDSL at either Kennedy Cup or, stuff like that. So the club is just, it's just exploded. And there's a fantastic catchment area out here, Tyrrellstown. But what we tried to do was we tried to stay away from, like Mulhuddert's only down the road, but Johnny Cash there runs Mulhuddert, and the last thing we wanted to do was to begin in and taking, his kids. So we pushed ourselves out by Tyrrellstown, Hollywood Rath, Hollystown, up as far as Kilbride, and it's really just it's just exploded, and the club's going from strength to strength. But we're still fighting on so many corners. We've got 2 grass pitches, we've got a couple of changing rooms put in, but we just need more. And it's very hard to get. As I say, we're only a club that's effectively only going 4 years, but we're definitely on the pitch. We're competing at a very, very high level. Off the pitch, we're still new. We've lost players to the bigger clubs because they have the facilities and they have, whereas some of these clubs are going 40, 50, 60 years. We're only going 4, so it's a tough, but it really is, it has been the fastest growing club in Dublin 15. I know you've got the Cardiffs and you've got Mulhuddard and stuff, but the way that this club has exploded in 4 years is phenomenal.
It's brilliant.
And they're turning up. Like the NDSL have a big cup weekend at the end of May, and we've constantly had 2 teams in the cup finals every year for the past 4 years. So the name is out there, so it's great. And as I say, I knew nobody for 10 years, and now I can't even go to the shop. It takes me an hour to come to the shop and back because kids are saying hello and parents are saying hello and somebody's giving out about this or giving out about that. But it's just brought, it's given me something, and playing football myself, it was great to give something back as well. So I love it. I really, really, really enjoy it. And it got me through last season when Spurs were rubbish. I was able to go and forget about Spurs and watch, my own kids and all our lads, develop from young men now to, from kids to young men, really. So, as a club, we're really pushing to try and give them something on the pitch, but also try and shape them off the pitch as well, so that they're not running the streets or getting into trouble. So, look, it's brilliant. It takes up a lot of time, but it's been brilliant.
Myself and Marky always talk about how core the football club is to the community and how important it is, and especially when you're dealing with the kids coming into that, say, under 14, under 15, all the way up to, progressing to becoming young adults and stuff like that, and all those core values that you try and instill in them. Not just it's football; these are life lessons as well as footballing and stuff. So it's so
100%.
important.
And it's great to see the club thriving, Dave, because like you were saying there, like you've Cardiff, you've Mulhuddard, but you've Hartstown, Hunstown, you've Verona, you've Mountfew, you've Mockdish, you've Castleknock, like all in that one area. And to see a club like you thriving, it's excellent,
And you're geographically surrounded as well by so much quality and teams that have been established for years and clubs and all, So
and it's like, even in the estate, even in Tyrrellstown itself, and I kind of just focus on like under 16s because that's what I have. But I could create a brand new team with the lads in the estate, but they're all playing for the Cardiffs and the Mockdish because the clubs have been around for ages and they're all good footballers, So like we took these lads when I took them when they were under 12, and they hadn't even played a game of football. Some of them had never played football, and like the first season they won the double. They got the cup final and they won the league. And I look at them now, 4 years on, and I hear, some of them they've part-time jobs. There's one of the lads who is training he wants to go and be a pilot. He wants to fly airplanes. And you see the development from them, as kids, and it's just been brilliant. And that's what I had when I was younger. I was playing ball since I was 12, and there was always a couple of people that you always felt that you could kind of go and ask wee bit of advice, and what should I do here and what should I do there. And you're not just a coach to these lads, and same to the girls. You're not just a coach. You're a role model. You're I don't want to say father figure, but sometimes lads grow up and they don't have a father figure around, and they just need something. And I think in certain areas, and I think football is that release. I always found that was release. And, coming from Derry, I always seen that, sometimes people had choices. You went down a wrong road or you went down sport and you played and, you prospered with it. So, yeah, I think it's great. I think for the club from top to bottom, from the academy up to under 16s, I think it's just great that, it's just that's what community is all about, and it's about getting the lads out and keeping them busy, I suppose.
And as well, I was telling Yvonne you were coming on. Obviously, my wife Yvonne is a teacher in St. Luke's out in Tyrrellstown. She's saying there's plenty of kids that go to the academy, and it's great to see them at the weekend. Looking forward to it and striving towards going to the academy on a Saturday morning or whatever. It's brilliant.
Yeah. It's a lot of work, though.
Yeah, kids need that. Kids need that kind of purpose in their life, something to look forward to as well, and all that kind of stuff. Because it's so easy to get on the wrong side of the tracks and stuff like that, and go. And especially Dave at that level you're teaching, that under 16s is a real crossroads for some kids and stuff like that. And all, what I mean? A lot of pressure from their peers, a lot of pressure from social media and everything else. It's so important to keep it just down at that level. And you'll also see a lot of the time in the skills market as well, kids that are training and doing football and doing sport tend to excel in education as well and stuff like that as well. So it's great to see them. Fair play.
There has to be a wee bit of discipline. You're not going to. I think when you get to a certain age group, it's all about developing skills, but I think when you get to 15 and 16, there has to be a bit of structure. I think that's what it is, and as you say, that's the amount of kids that lose interest in sport at the age of 16 is huge, and that's male and female, and for whatever reason they go off the path and they decide to do this or do that, but try and just keep them on as long as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Well, listen, great work, Dave. Appreciate you coming on as well. Absolute pleasure. Come on anytime you want, anytime you have events, just hit me up. We'll get you back on again. And sure, if you want to send us on some info and pictures from the event with Glenn Hoddle and stuff like that, we'll put them up.
I will do. No problem.
Love to see that as well. Appreciate you coming on. Don't forget, folks, the Facebook page is in the description of the video as well, or you can hit us up and we'll put you in touch with Dave for tickets and all that kind of stuff. And looks like you might have a decent season this season as well. Thomas Frank, great appointment. Thomas Frank, I think.
Yeah, a good appointment, and I think like every manager, I think he just needs time. I'm very impressed with what he's done so far. But any manager nowadays needs them 2 or 3 seasons. They need a couple of transfer windows. They have to just implement their style. But I'm happy enough now. I think we could be doing with a striker, but I'm happy enough at the moment.
Well, you have a club structure there, and you have a stadium that's built for success. So what more? What more do you need?
And I think that sort of brings Daniel Levy, under the picture. And look, as much as I thought that Daniel Levy could have done more for the team, I thought as a chairman and as a businessman for the club,
commercial, what
he's done in the past 20 years has been amazing. Was I happy to see him go? Yeah, probably, but I can't not give him the credit for what he's done. So he's laid the foundations. So let's see if they can take it now to the next level.
The next 3 years sets of accounts will tell the tale.
That's true.
Yeah, that's the way it really works. Well, like I said, absolute pleasure having you on, Dave. Best of luck with Tyrrellstown and all the competitions and leagues and all you're playing in, going from strength to strength. And of course, always support local football and clubs and stuff like that. So important to the community.
Yeah.
Best of luck with the event. I'm sure you'll knock it out of the park. Can't fail with having Glenn Hoddle on as a
no, definitely not.
Stuff like that and all. And listen, best of luck for the rest of the season with Spurs as well.
Listen, thanks for having me on, lads.
Pleasure. Cheers, Dave.
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks.
Lovely. Thanks, boys. Best of luck.
Yeah, that was interesting. That was a good little chat and stuff like that. Good guest there and stuff like that, Yeah, Bren, very impressed, lads. That was class. Absolutely.
Cheers, Bren.
Bren, I have to tell you, when you drop in on Wednesday, I'll tell you a story about Mountfield. Myself and Mark, you have a story about Mountfield, don't we?
Oh yes.
I had a very interesting incident out in Mountfield.
I'll tell you
on Wednesday about it. Yeah. Right, let's get through Premier League. we'll go through it reasonably quickly. We're 35 in at this stage. Let's start Friday night. Bournemouth, massive comeback. What some goals?
Semenyo, absolutely on fire. I had him in the fancy football. Yeah, I was looking at I was saying Fulham taking the lead, then I was like, right, for the last man standing, I was thinking about doing Bournemouth, and then I was like, no, it's gonna be. I was really expecting the draw in this game, but it was a massive win. And did you see a certain Bournemouth manager on the sideline yesterday morning at a under 11s grassroots football game, and he had the flag in hand and everything?
I didn't.
I'll send you on the picture. Yeah, he was doing the line at one of the kids' games yesterday morning over in England. Excellent. Brilliant to see. But delighted for him. Great win, and it keeps him up there in fourth, you know.
Absolutely. And then up Leeds 1, Tottenham 2. Your boy Okafor on the score sheet. And Kudas with the winner on 57.
Yeah, Noah got in at the back post. I thought Leeds played very well in this game. I thought they kept, Tottenham at bay at times. It was two kind of deflections. Kudas would be getting the monkey off his back, getting the first goal. It was a slight deflection. I think it was going to go in anyway. I think the first one was more of a tell. Yeah, exactly. But I just like we had a little chat with Davey just before coming on air. I think Leeds look very solid at the back and in midfield. I just think they're missing that natural goal scorer. Calvert-Lewin, I don't think is the answer. He missed a good few chances there on Saturday, and I think that's what's going to do them. But I think, overall, I think they look very well organised at times, and they're good at putting pressure high up the pitch on teams as well. So, but listen, from a Spurs perspective, great win away from home, 2-1. Take that, get into the international break, and go from there. But yeah, Leeds will feel like last week when they drew. They'll feel aggrieved that they didn't get anything out of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Arsenal 2, West Ham 0. Arsenal picking up the points. Rice on 38. A bit of a struggle in the beginning, but reasonably comfort. You felt Arsenal were coming all the time, really, didn't you?
Yeah, I thought it was a solid performance by Arsenal throughout the game. They never looked really under any pressure. I think West Ham only had one or two clear-cut chances the whole game. I thought Calafiori, Timber, excellent. Zubamendi, some of the balls he was playing was unbelievable. Opening up space. Saka again was in good form and scored a penalty, put it away well. And obviously Declan Rice getting the first goal. But I think it was a very professional, solid performance by Arsenal, and they'd be happy to keep a clean sheet as well.
And on the panel, Saka and Fikadyarke is having words before the panel.
I've seen that, yeah. Yeah, seen that. Maybe Saka's his kind of longevity over Gyökeres might have won him that.
I tell you, there's a Saka laying it down saying, listen, there's no gimmies in this league, pal. If you want your goals, you got to go score them.
That's it.
Man United 2, Sunderland 0. Good performance from Man United. Great debut from the goalkeeper, Lemons. Did very, very well. I think I thought Mason Mount probably one of his best performances for you so far. Secret is to keep him fit, really, isn't it?
Yeah, he's unlucky with injuries, isn't he? Yeah, Sesko, I thought was funny enough. My dad came over to watch Holly at our football on Saturday, and we came back here, and he was here long enough. He was like, "Do you want to stay for the match?" And they ended up staying for the match, and they ended up staying Saturday night as well. So we had a few drinks watching the game. But I thought Sesko was getting balls up to him. And I thought he looked lively. Mount with a great finish, and obviously the goal.
Funny enough, and Buemo probably one of your worst players on the day, which was
yeah.
He just looked a bit off it, didn't he?
He did seem a bit off it, all right. In fairness, but I just think some of the other performances were solid. I thought Yoro and De Ligt at the back done very well. I was expecting more from Sunderland, if I'm being honest with you. Given how they played over the last few weeks, I really was worried going into the game. But the goalkeeper for me was solid. His catching, his distribution as well, like the kicking. Some of the balls he was playing were right to feet, and obviously got man of the match. You see De Ligt run up to him and give him a big hug at the end of the game, and it was a great win. I always say this, it's a very unfortunate the international break comes because you just want to go again, take the momentum of that into the next game. But unfortunately, we have to wait, and obviously it's going to be a big game now after the international break against yourselves,
Certainly is. Chelsea 2, Liverpool 1. Esteval with the late winner on
What
90
did you
plus
think, Cuz?
5. Do you know what I thought? Again, similar to the Crystal Palace game, and I hate saying this about my own team, but to be honest with you, getting anything out of that game would have been a travesty to Chelsea, to be honest.
Yeah.
I thought first half again, I thought we were shocking. I think the fundamental things we're doing wrong at the moment. We haven't learned from that season where we started putting midfielders in defence instead of putting defenders in defence.
Yeah.
And it just all goes to pot. The structure goes on its ass. You've Dominic Szoboszlai in 3 or 4 different positions in the game. You've Alexander Isak dropping so deep he's nearly playing like a 6. You have Mo Salah who's totally off the boil at the moment, just isn't playing well, just void of confidence. Cody Gakpo at times looking well. Wirtz came on, looked the part. That was a lovely ball to Salah. We probably wouldn't be having this conversation if Salah had to put that away, because all the headlines would be about a great finish from Salah and what a ball from Wirtz. The assist from Isak for Cody Gakpo was absolutely phenomenal.
I thought he was trying to take it down. I thought he was trying to take
if you go and you look back at it, he kind of hit it with the outside of his foot and wrapped it around it kind of as well,
And we just mentioned Cachedo's goal as well. What a finish into the
phenomenal streak. Phenomenal streak.
Yeah, and the funny backing off him, you gave him a bit of space, but
it wasn't even backing off. If you look at Van Dijk has a weird way of at times when people attack like that. He's trying to show them to the outside, and they don't go to the outside, and they're never gonna go to the outside when they're that central. So he's going the opposite way, and then Cachedo cuts the other way, and then there's a massive big gaping hole for him to launch a rocket. And I thought sometimes Van Dijk at times just needs to step up and just, cut that space out and block that down. And we know Cachedo can hit balls from that distance because he scores a few of them in the season.
100%. No. And Van Dijk, he needs to be making the goal smaller there. When he turns around,
he opened it right up with the way that he ran. He ran away from Cachedo instead of towards him. So it's just, and sometimes he just does that, and it's like as if he's thinking that Cachedo's going to go that way. So he's trying to show a player to the outside. But in that central position, it's very hard to do that because naturally they'll cut in the other way. But phenomenal goal, and in fairness to Marmadashvili as well, he got fingertips to them and stuff like that. But just not strong enough for them. And that was a phenomenal shot, and like the position of it now was you'd never save it. So hats off to Chelsea getting the win as well. A struggle for us. We haven't kind of won there, I think, since 23 or something like that is, or 21 or something like that. It's been a while anyway. So a difficult time at the moment. 3 L's on the trot. Big game coming up now after the international break. You'll be looking to go back to back for the first time in God knows how long as well. But obviously your home form, 3 wins at home on the trot now. So pedigree at home is starting to show through somewhat. But for you guys, I think if Amarin just loosens up a little bit, and if you're able to keep the likes of Mount fit and players like that fit, that will make a huge difference because you need some ballers in your team, really, Big up, Joanne. Good to see you. Hope you're good.
Hey, Joanne.
Into Sunday then. Everton 2, Crystal Palace 1. Grealish. Wow.
And he still didn't get into the squad. No, I thought Palace started off pretty well. They kind of started off as they left last week. Everton under David Moyes have just looked a different quality. The signing of Grealish was brilliant. Hopefully they can sign him, on a permanent deal, maybe in the summer or something like that. Because we're seeing the Jack Grealish that we seen at Aston Villa that got him signed for City. He's playing with that freedom. He's not playing with a big weight over his shoulder. He's playing where he wants to. Where David Moyes is giving them that freedom and that confidence, where I think Pep kind of zapped that out of him a little bit. But Everton, like Keane at the back has been so solid. Pickford has been fantastic as well. Dewsbury Hall coming in was a great signing as well. But like I said before, I think Beto is a little bit of a weak link. I think they need someone more natural as a goal scorer. Now, listen, his header into the ground, it came back out to Grealish then. It kind of, went in. But great win for Everton. And it's unfortunate Palace's unbeaten streak end. It was going to end somewhere, but I think they still played well. I think they still played very well in spells in the game, And
Arsenal fans now maintaining their invincibility again. So,
Joanne, I'm telling you, listen, all the teams have been beaten this season, so that record still stands, And how's Joanne feeling about Mikel at the moment?
I don't know whether she will be changing her mind. I think they're Mikel out regardless, you know.
Yeah, okay.
Aston Villa 2, Burnley 1. Danielle Mallon's shown up.
It's
Probably the
about
first
time.
time we've seen him. Yeah, absolutely. It's
About
taken
time.
time, hasn't it? Because we know how fantastic this player was prior to buying him and stuff like that
Yeah.
and on the continent. So, but we've rarely seen that player.
Definitely not. You were every week you're just kind of waiting for it to kick in. And I think this season's been tough because they've been lacking goals. They've been lacking that bit of quality in the final third in general. So it's been hard for them. Like you see, Matty Cash at times is lining up the ball from 30, 40 yards, looking to take a shot, you know. How are you, Keith? But yeah, I think, was it the first or the second finish? He kind of hits it, like takes a touch and then just volleys it into the bottom left-hand corner. I just mentioned Burnley's goalkeeper, I think, was fantastic on the day. You know, I think if it hadn't been for him, it could have been 3-4-0 before even Burnley got that well, I wouldn't say a consolation goal in the end, but yeah, it was a good performance by Villa. They've been like I said, they've been lacking. You can see they haven't been the team they were last season, and you're kind of waiting for something just to click. I was going to say I was going to pick them, but I ended up picking Newcastle in the last man standing. And then when I seen it going 2-1, I think wasn't there 12 minutes added on or something like that.
Yeah,
I was saying to myself, Burnley are going to get an equaliser here. And I do think the Burnley player should have been sent off for that elbow at the end. Who was it? Who was your man's name? What was your man's name? He whacked full force elbow into the head. It should have been a red card, but it wasn't to be.
Well, speaking of fouls and stuff like that, Newcastle 2, Nottingham Forest 0. Ange finding life very difficult back in the Prem. How long will Marinakis stick with him and stuff like that?
Well,
and all?
I'll be very, very surprised if he sees this side of Christmas. I'd be very surprised.
Talk to me about the first goal on 58 minutes. Bruno Guimaraes absolutely clatters into Morgan Gibbs White, wins the ball, but absolutely sends him into orbit.
I thought it was going to be disallowed because I thought VAR would have went back on it and not given it. Now listen, Bruno goes on to score an absolute cracker of a goal, but even when he knee slides into the corner, you can see the Forest players in the background running towards a referee. Gibbs White is still on the ground holding his face and stuff like that. And I just thought to myself, this isn't going to stand, and it did. I was very, very shocked when it was. But
what was your thinking on them letting it stand? I mean, what were they looking at that we weren't looking at? I mean, he literally.
All I could see is what you just said there previously is that he got the ball, but the way he got the ball and the intent of the contact and stuff like that, it beggars belief how it was given. But in fairness to Newcastle, they could have won that game 5-6-0.
Yeah.
Stells was unbelievable. Showed what he did last season. He was unplayable at times last season, and he was one of the best players that Forest had. And then the penalty. Most
unorthodox penalty. Nearly sent it into orbit.
Do you know it's sorry, because I was going to say it's one of those where when it goes in like that, it's fantastic. Great. Yeah, we're talking about, but if it doesn't work, I say Eddie Howe's pulling him aside.
Yeah, he'll take a few of them this season, and if he goes that same route, he'll put them over the bar.
There's no say.
There's no room for margin when you're going like into orbit like that. You know what I mean? So yeah, interesting.
Like I said, it was a great win for them in the end, clean sheet, and it could have been a lot more. The scoreline for me flattered Forest, if I'm being honest with you. And and it's another defeat, and we know what the owner's like. He doesn't have much. Like the grass isn't always greener. You know what Nuno had done there, and to get them into Europe. And I know he's disappointed they didn't get Champions League, but no one ever expected them to. You know, they were tipping along. And yes, they had a little bit of a fall, but what Nuno done there was fantastic. Some of the football they were playing last season.
I think the issue, and Darren alluded to it a couple of times on the podcast on Thursdays, is they've gone from Nuno ball to Ange ball, and they're totally different.
Yeah,
neither of them compare. And Forest at the moment just look a little bit lost.
They do. But you could see it in the players. Like you look at Gibbs White and thinking he could have been gone to Spurs. You know, if this keeps going on for as long as it does, he won't be there next summer either. But But yeah, it's not looking good. I think he has to make a decision before Christmas if they want to stay in the Premier League this season. They're gonna have to do it. What is he 6-7 games in there without a win?
He hasn't. Yeah, I don't think he's won a game yet, has he?
No, he hasn't won a game yet. No,
He hasn't won a game yet. So
but they were beaten in the Europe there during the week after coming back into it and stuff like that.
Yeah, and they had that bad defeat against Swansea as well, didn't they? Which didn't look good. So
they were 2-0 up, and Swansea came back 3-2.
Yeah, no, poor. All right. Wolves won, Brighton won. What an OG. Terrible to take that off the player. What a strike.
Yeah, it was a good strike in fairness. But I think the Wolves manager getting sent off when he did after the incident involving the second yellow card for the player that was linked with us actually quite a bit during the summer. So yeah, I think the sending off at the sideline kind of, you feel for Wolves. I don't think, again, you look at their position there, that's their second point of the season. The other point was in against away to Spurs, which was a great point for them, but you can't see them staying up at all. I know we talked about it in the very first week and stuff like that, the players they've lost, the new manager coming in and stuff like that, but it's not looking good for them at all, is it?
Yeah, it looks like there's a bit of a gulf there now, as they say.
Yeah.
Brentford 0, Man City 1. Watch the first 15-20 minutes of this, and I thought this was going to be a procession for Man City. Haaland getting on the score sheet on 9, powering through the way he did around the back of the defender and just slotting it home. And I just thought this could be a few now. This could be a bad day for Brentford. But he changed a few things around and stuff like that, stabilised them a little bit and stuff like that. And they looked much better, and they hung in there right till the end.
It was a great finish by Haaland. The strength to get by was it Vandenberg, I think, was it? And a good finish. But like you said, after that, he changed it. He made them more solid at the back. In fairness, Uriel Queeveen pulled off 1 or 2 really good saves as well.
Yeah, a couple of good ones near post. Good ones near post as well. Oscar Bob and a few others as well.
Yeah, so City did have their chances, but Key had it very well organised on the day, and hats off to him. He's done a really good job there. As from a Man United point of view, we found out there the other week. So now listen, good win for City on the road. I think a lot of people will go there this season, wanting to get out as quick as they can. And so City, good win for them, clean sheet. But Queeveen for me was man of the match on the day. He pulled off some great saves.
Yeah, absolutely. That rounds up the Premier League. Arsenal go top, Liverpool second. Palace were second at a stage yesterday until they dropped those 2 goals. But interesting down the bottom there with Burnley, West Ham and Wolves.
Yeah.
And Forest, Brentford and Leeds hovering up there as well. So early days still, but 7 games gone. We're into the second international break, so we will keep an eye on it. Want to talk about this first of all. Obviously I couldn't do the show on Friday because of the Wi-Fi and the storm and everything. It was an absolute nightmare. So, and it's kind of the way it panned out. I was kind of glad I didn't, to be honest, because the champagne was on ice.
It was,
But this is only a matter of time, isn't it, really, for Dundalk?
It is. I was texting John, Mr. John Temple there on Friday afternoon, and I was saying that I thought they were going to win either 2-1 or 3-1 on the night, and it wasn't to be. Listen, I don't think conditions helped down there. It was very windy. Just a shout out to that Lawrence Aaron Connolly as well. What a finish! The equalising goal, and obviously we had his brother Dylan on there for the podcast before remember we playing with Auckland. So Aaron, his brother, he's the captain of Athlone. What a cracking goal! But yeah, I think it's only a matter of time. They're going to be in Oriel Park on Friday, and I do believe they're talking to John. They're doing I don't know if is it Friday or are they playing on Saturday?
I think that, as far as I know, they're all playing Friday.
Friday it is. Yeah, no, because actually, Rovers and Shells are on a Friday, but they're doing a thing before the game, and they're remembering all the fans that they lost throughout the season, and they're bringing the families on and giving them tickets to the game and stuff like that. So another nice touch by the club down there and stuff like that, and it'd be nice.
great to see John as well. John is so in tune with the community down there in the Flames, isn't he?
100%.
Like, and you see all the stuff he's done. And we're
Like,
hoping, I told everyone on Thursday, on the Thursday show, we are hoping eventually to get him on and stuff. We know he's
100%,
probably
yeah.
out the door with work and stuff like that, but we'd love to have a chat to him about Dundalk and, you know, the troubles that they had and how they had to overcome stuff and that really poor season and how things exploded. And, you know, how did he tackle it? How did he break it down? Where did he start? How did he identify the key things that needed to be done? How did he, dare I say, put the Dundalk back in Dundalk? You know what I mean? And that's the chat we'll hopefully have with him if he comes
because
on.
one of the last things he said to me, and I'll just go back on it because we were talking about when they go up, you know, the kind of the work that goes involved in getting up, and then he says, big celebration, hopefully, and then the grind begins for us. So it's getting ready for the Premier. Then, you know, it's another big step for him to. He's been getting over.
That's a guy here, and isn't it?
You know?
That's the guy you want. Isn't that the guy you want running stuff? The guy who
100%.
always has the eye on the next milestone, the next goal. Not. It's easy to sit back and go, right, we won the league, we're promoted back into the Premier League and stuff like that and all, and be happy with that. But it's great to see he's always thinking, this is what's next. This is the next challenge, and that's really what you want.
He'll look at it now, thinking they don't want to end up like Cork. Cork obviously went up last season. They're going straight back down. Hasn't been a good season at all for them. It looks like the owner is on his way out the door now as well. The fans have kind of turned on them and stuff like that. But for John, yeah, like you said, the grind begins. You know, a few months ago they'll be thinking about who they're bringing in for next season in terms of players to give them that Premier League quality. They have a lot of good young lads down there that have gotten them through this season, but they haven't gone up against the likes of the Rovers, the Pats, the Shells.
They need that bit of experience in there with those guys.
Exactly. Cork have done that by bringing the likes of Shawnee Maguire back in and stuff like that. It hasn't worked out, but you need that. You need the young lads and you need that experience there, and I think that's what they'll do as well, you know.
Absolutely. And then obviously Shamrock Rovers Shelbourne, 8 o'clock on Friday night in Tallaght Stadium. They call it the title race live, but that's a stretch, I think.
100%. Yeah, I think Derry had a decent win there yesterday afternoon, I think it was. Or Saturday afternoon. Yeah, yesterday afternoon. Obviously, if they had a drop points, Rovers would have won the league. But listen, from a Shelbourne point of view, you want to go there and get a win. You don't want to hand up the trophy to Rovers. It is going to happen. But, you know, I think Rovers are looking at it now and thinking about a double, obviously beating Kerry yesterday, 6-1 in the end. Graham Burke was lucky to stay on the pitch. I don't know if you've seen the clip of him. He should have been shown a straight red card.
Just the one with the tackle onto the ground and stuff like that. Yeah, absolutely. And it should have been a straight red. And what's the thing there? The ref was looking right at it and the linesman was right on top of it.
I think, and like Rob Hamilton's a good referee, one of the best in the league, and I don't know how to God that he's missed it, because there's two. He shoves him like that, and then he shoves him on the ground.
Yeah, he nearly gets on him and shoves his head down into the turf.
Yeah.
Like,
so for me, it's violent conduct. It should have been a straight red. But listen, taking nothing away from them, can I just say fair play to Kerry as well? They brought 1,423 fans up. They were all given free travel from Kerry up to Dublin on the day. For a club that was only founded 4 years ago, it's fantastic to see. You know, them bringing nearly 1,500 fans up to a semi-final. They'd be bitterly disappointed that it went the way it did, but with the Rovers,
it was a very tough task.
It was. Listen, it was right or over since getting there, but you always knew, listen, Rovers with their strength and depth and their quality that they were going to do it. It would have taken something major for Kerry to get through. But yeah, it should be an interesting final. Obviously, Cork not having a great season in the league. This is something that will, you know, hopefully keep some of the fans happy, you know, them getting to a final and maybe with a chance of winning. But on the day itself, you couldn't see past Rovers unless something really, really...
I was having a bit of banter with Cork fans on Twitter after this the other day. Yeah, they were all going on talking about, oh, great, can't wait to go to the Aviva and all that. And I said, is that when you're not protesting and delaying games? Just saying.
Yeah.
You're either with your team or you're not with your team. You can't be half in, half out. Can't put 1 foot in, 1 foot out when it suits you, kind of thing. So I was giving them a bit of stick, and then fairness, they were giving me the banter back as well, and I love that.
They won't be throwing tennis balls in the Aviva anyway.
No, and also Rovers were nominated the home team on the day as well, and there was a bit of a trouble over that because apparently it wasn't televised or it wasn't shown that the draw thing or
The
something.
draw
Like that.
doesn't surprise me.
They weren't
Doesn't
too happy.
surprise me.
But listen, it's a one-off. It's a cup game, and sure, anything can happen, you know. So, but I would expect Rovers to win this. Would you?
Definitely, 100%.
They're on a tear at the moment and stuff like that, you know. So let's say they're laser focused, as they say. But who knows? Who knows on the day? Anything can happen. And as we say in McCork, Pats will be absolutely kicking themselves. Pats were.
I couldn't believe that. They were woeful.
Woeful, you know. And you think about like the Cork fans are protesting beforehand, delaying the kickoff and stuff like that. So Pats are thinking, listen, we go out here and put on the display, we'll be all right. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
exactly. You know, never, ever underestimate Turner's Cross or Cork City. That's for sure.
And I tipped Pats to win the cup from the start. I tipped them. I just thought I didn't think they had a strong enough squad to go and compete with Rovers.
Well, you must have thought they'd be in the final anyway, must you? You must have thought to get past Cork, like so. Bitterly disappointed, and a tough season for Stephen at the moment. It's going out on a whimper, as they say. You know?
It is, and obviously he's going to lose the likes of Mason and stuff for next season, and a few other lads as well. And
massive loss.
Yeah. So it's about a rebuild for himself now. Get a few lads in and go from there. And yeah, hopefully use some of the Mason money as well, you know. We talked about St. Pat's, and look who pops up in the chat.
The hide and seek champ is back. Ryan, what's happening? Welcome back.
Oh, you're Ryan.
Aaron was only wondering where you were. Good evening, lads. Hope you're both well. And you, Ryan. I hope you're good.
You too, Ryan, man. Hope you're
Aaron was only saying to me, had I heard from Ryan on any of the shows there last week? I think it was the week before. So, yeah, no, it's tough.
It's good to have you back, man.
Good to have you back, Ryan. Hope you're good, pal. And sure, we might see you Thursday. So, just the lineup tomorrow night. We have Pro Wrestling Weekly, so we're going to be going through a lot of the stuff on that with the panel, as always. Thursday, we have Thursday Tier Talk, but it won't be Thursday Tier Talk. What myself and Darren are going to do is we're going to do our Premier League 11 so far this season. So that's what the show is going to be. So it should be a bit of fun and stuff like that. So bit of banter. Just something different because there's nothing really to talk about. We're not going to really talk about international football. Now, we will touch on news and stuff like that and all that kind of good stuff and all. And I don't think we'll do beat the bookie for the international break either and stuff like that. So again, if you want to come up with something for next Monday, let me know if you want to come up with an idea or something like that, because we obviously won't have anything to review. Bit of League of Ireland, obviously. I haven't been hiding because Wolves are crap. We're always crap. Sorry, had some stuff going on recently, but it's all good now. We'll be back for more. So, Ryan, so long as you're good, mate, and you're back, that's the main thing. We'd be only messing when we talk about these hide and seek champions. I just say it to Darren all the time as well. With the United
have we found Wayne yet? No,
we haven't. We haven't. No, unless it's John Wayne. But no, yeah. And Elsad?
No, I'll be tuning in tomorrow to watch you. Who's presenting it? You or Brent tomorrow? Is it?
I think I'm hosting again, as far as I know. But I said if any of the lads wanted to host, I would sit back. It's not a problem. But
no, we'll just tomorrow during my time in work, I'll come up with some boy band puns to throw into the chat there, you know, to keep Brent going.
Happy days, yeah, happy days. Yeah. The wrestling one's always a fun show anyway. I always throw back and stuff like that. And we've got plenty of history and birthdays in there as well, so should be good for. Bring Brent back. Look at that. He's already in there. Me in the chat. Look at him there. Look.
Brent for president.
Bring Brent back. Who said that? Brent said it. There we go. You're the Jim Galvin. You're the Jim Galvin of this podcast. Get out there. Get up.
The amount of videos I've been getting about that today. Oh my god.
And the fact that you told me you were playing for Mountview, that says it all now. Now you're in big trouble.
Jesus Christ.
I was off YouTube for a while, and my sister has been going through a health scare recently, but she got the all clear. Absolutely excellent.
Brilliant news, Ryan.
And remember, Ryan, no one's ever too far away. If you ever want to talk or anything like that, and you need to bend an ear, don't think you're ever going through these things on your own, brother. We're all here as a community and stuff like that. Look at this lad with the smiley faces and all that. Don't worry. I'll get him tomorrow night.
Bren, tell me what makes a man, will you?
Let's see. Right, folks, that's it. If you could subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button and drop a like on the video, we would really, really appreciate it. We will be back tomorrow night, the earlier time of 8 o'clock, of course, for the wrestling show. Great news, Ryan. Good to see you back, pal. Cheers, lads. Absolutely. Talk to you soon. Cheers, cuz.
Cheers, lads.